What's up everybody, it's Nick here. I'm joined once again by Allison from Homebridge. If you saw our video last week, we talked about how interest rates are at a historic low. So this week I thought it'd be a great idea to talk about why it's important to get pre-qualified before you start looking for a mortgage. So Allison, talk to us about why it's important to get pre-qualified before we even start going and looking at houses.
Well, especially because of where the market is right now with the multiple offer situations that you're up against. You always want to have that competitive edge of having a really solid pre-approval letter when you go to submit an offer on a house, so that when you're up against other pre-approved buyers, you aren't discounted because you don't have that pre-approval letter. And we also want to make sure that any offer that you're putting in on a property, you can afford, you feel comfortable with that monthly payment. We want to make sure that that is the real house for you, and it's a good solid choice, and it lines up with where your needs are, where your monthly budget is. So it's always great to start the process way early on, even if you're not looking for another 6 months to a year, starting way early, getting an idea of what you qualify for, what that monthly payment is, and having that pre-approval letter handy, so that in the event that you want to move sooner than that 6 months to a year mark, you are able to because you have that letter.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've started talking with somebody, they're thinking about maybe getting a house in a year from now, and they don't want to get pre-qualified because they're so worried that it's going to ruin their credit score, and they're not even going to use it, and then they're going to be locked into this mortgage, and then they have to choose to do it. And I'm always kind of reassuring people, like, that's not how it works. I'm not sure where that kind of came from, but you can get pre-qualified. It's only temporary, it doesn't lock you into anything, and it at the very least gives you an idea of what your buying power is when you are ready, or if there's things you need to do to improve your situation, such as raising your credit score, or waiting for interest rates to be in a better position, maybe so you can get the monthly payment you were hoping for. It's always good to at least get an idea of where you're starting at, because then you know where to work from, and if we need to put a plan into action to help get you where you want to be. So that's the first thing I encounter a lot. And then the second thing is, isn't it awful to go look at houses not knowing whether you can even afford them or not? What if you fall in love with one and it's outside of your budget? It's outside of the range that you're qualified for.
Absolutely, so we see that a lot where it's such an emotional process buying a home. It's probably the most emotional process because it's a lot of money involved and it's your home.
So if I'm on the fence and I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm still a little bit hesitant, what would you say to somebody to help reassure them that getting pre-qualified is a good thing to start with?
Absolutely. So first of all, pre-approval letters last for 90 days. So even if you do have that little bit of a wiggle room, just know you'd be covered with that pre-approval letter without going through the process of reapplying or repulling credit for 90 days. Additionally, when you are shopping for a mortgage, you have a 2-week time frame to shop mortgage lenders, multiple mortgage lenders, before it takes a hard hit on your credit. So you have a window in regards to that as well. When you're looking at that, and even if you do shop outside of that 2-week time frame, your credit will bounce back from that score hit. It doesn't stay on there for forever. That falls off after a while. So it's not a huge detriment to your credit score to start looking now, and it doesn't cost you anything. We don't charge you for credit reports or anything like that. It's more about our opportunity to earn your trust and also providing you with real accurate data as far as what you qualify for.
Yeah, and I also run into an issue where people have a lot of questions about how mortgages work, what type of mortgages are there, what type should they get based on their current situation. And I always find that it's a great idea that if you go and you talk to a mortgage lender like Allison and you have questions, that's the time to ask. It's so much easier to ask her these questions directly and get an answer from a subject matter expert than to try to Google and do the research on your own, and you might get conflicting answers, and different states have different laws, and there's all this kind of, why go through that when you can just ask any questions that you have from somebody that we know and we trust as the Bridge Group. So we're going to point you to her knowing that she's going to give you good answers, and she wants to earn your trust just like we do.
I mean, but how many times have we gone online with symptoms and found out that, like, WebMD tells us that
we all have cancer.
Yes, exactly. We don't want you to do that. Not when you can just call us and we can tell you what you qualify for.
So maybe you're watching this and you're thinking, you know what, I am ready. I do have some questions, but I'd like to know what my buying power is. Reach out to Allison from Homebridge. She would love to answer any mortgage-related questions that you have. Thank you so much for tuning in for another video. We'll see you next week.